Have you got it through yet? Is it in yet?
Well, it's a bit of a tight squeeze, but it's in.
Make sure you get the tip in.
Might have to spit in the end of it.
So you'll have seen in the last video that we got our sink put into the countertop and the challenges we faced with it. So we've just come back, it's a new day, it's actually a new week, and we've come back to see if it's actually taken okay, make sure it's seated okay.
So we need to make a start on the fan, and in order to do that, we need to get our priorities right. So step number 1.
So step number 1 is we're going to finish off the cladding around the... So step number 1 is we're going to finish the cladding up around the bed.
Step number 2 is going to be running the new wire throughout the van.
Step number 3 will be once we have the wire ran through the van, this doesn't need to move anymore, so we can finally secure this down and also put in the waste fittings for the sink.
Step number 4?
We're actually recording now, you don't look like a penis.
Step number 4. So step number 4 is, because it's the weekend and we're off work, we finally get to go on a night out to B&Q to get more cladding to put on the wall above the bed.
So step 4.5 sort of will be, if we have time, we're also going to run the wire and install the reading lights that we have for above the bed.
So now with all of our steps planned out, it's time to start into the fan build. We've been saying throughout the build that our fan's held together with glues, screws and dreams, and I think it's pretty much true. We applied Sikaflex straight onto the bolts of the fan walls. Because we didn't have anything to drill above the bed, this secured our cladding in place. We needed something that would cover up any imperfections, so we went to B&Q and got a rounded angle trim piece. It had a diameter of 2 centimeters and it was perfect to slide across where we cut the fiberglass.
So much box for such little wire, like, isn't it? Sounds really dodgy, doesn't it? It's such a big box for such a little wire. So we're going to attempt to push the wire through the sort of surface area that we've made, but we haven't made it very well. I haven't really designed it very well. The whole idea was to have floorboards on the units that we could take off, but because of I forgot about the wheel arch and didn't make the one on the unit beside the partition very well. So pushing this cable through these really tight, awkward holes, it's going to be very awkward. So I'm going to push my cable through and Tony's going to be on the receiving end.
And I'm going to give it a good old pull and make sure that it gets into the right slot where it needs to be.
Have you got it through yet? Is it in yet?
Well, it's a bit of a tight squeeze, but it's in.
Right, put it through the other hole. Make sure you get the tip in.
She's going. Might have to spit in the end of it. I think she's through. Is she through? Might have to use a finger to get it in.
Now that we have the wire ran from the back of the van to the front of the van, we can now secure the countertop and the units for the sink side. Hopefully we won't need to remove this anytime soon. I do have like a service access underneath the sink, so whenever we come to run our water pipes through, I can just remove this floor panel and gain access from underneath.
We were able to get the counter screwed down, secured, and we even put in some L bracket pieces so that we could put the countertop on. It was actually really exciting to see this all come together.
So we have now glued in the back piece for the countertop, upstand, this is what I think what it's called, and now I'm just putting in brackets so we can screw the countertop down. What am I catching on? I'm going to attempt to fit the waste fittings for the sink, but if you would have heard in the last video, plumbing is just not my strong suit at all, so we're going to see how this goes. It's gonna look like Oh, the silicone area. Is this? At least does this go on to? I don't know what the that is. Is that for that? Aye. No. No clue. That's right on that. You meant the that on first, wasn't it? Ah! That was inside that, like that. That looks right, doesn't it? Like an elephant's trunk.
Something like that.
I get the feeling the sink's gonna be a load of shit. Look at this shit! Yeah, well, maybe that's not too bad. I think maybe aiming it down this direction, maybe better.
Yeah.
And then, like that. Bucket for now, maybe. So we finally have the countertop in place and secured, and we also have the kitchen sink. We hope the waste part of it plumbed in. We're just about to test it, so we have a bucket underneath to capture any potential serious leaks and to capture the water, and then we're just going to pour some water down the drain and see what happens. So this is a big moment, big moment. It's going to go everywhere. Right, ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, so far so good. Alright, so far so good. Now, we're going to encounter a van life problem, so we are. The van's tilted, so to drain the water is going to be a fun experience. But that's so far, that's holding, and there's no leaks so far. Okay, let's see if we can drain it. Ah, it's leaking here.
Where you wrapped around?
Yeah.
So as you can see in the test, there was a slight leak where our washer broke, but that's an easy fix because we can just order a new one that's the right size.
So bar the wee hiccup with the O-ring, I'm quite happy with that result. So yeah, so it means like you can pick up an O-ring up from like any plumbing merchants, that'll be fine. So we'll get a wee O-ring for that, and then that's us. We'll have a semi-working sink. We just need to get water tank and pump and tap then next, really.
And the shower, otherwise we'll be washing ourselves in the sink, which is me going to leave you with that lovely image. So if you cast your mind back to our very first video whenever we got this van, we said that we wanted to retain some of the elements that made this an ambulance.
So with that in mind, these are the original panels for the van. So we're going to reuse these to cover up the sort of the metal and the service areas a lot of the cables run, because we don't want to just carpet over them, because you'll eventually see sort of the holes through the carpet. So we're going to reuse this. We are going to carpet over it, but at least it means a bit of the ambulance still stays with the van.
So now with doing the cladding, it means that we have to line these up and cut them to size, so it's back to the jigsaw to get that work done. So if you're an avid reader like me and you're on the road full time, nothing beats a good book, but in order to do that, sometimes you need a bedside light.
So with that in mind, we got these wee cheap LED reading lights off of Amazon, and the good thing about them is they also have USB so that we can charge our phones at the same time. So whenever I was ordering them, I wasn't actually sure whether a packet contained one or two, and then whenever we got the box, I was kind of like, well, that's very small, so it must be only one. But you actually get 2 of these wee tiny lights. So really all they're for is a bit of bedside light, reading, or like a bit of ambient light is really all they're for. And then, as I say, you have the added bonus of the USB. But to install them, what I'm doing is I have measured roughly 4 inches in from each side, so they're sort of the same distance in from the walls, and I'm just installing it on the cladding. So as you can see, I've pre-drilled the hole for the wires to go through, and then I'm going to take the wee backing plate off, screw it to each side of the hole, and then feed the wires on through. So now we're on to the bit where I actually enjoy the most, and that is doing a bit of rewiring. It's a wee bit monotonous, so we'll probably just time lapse it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a wire so we have enough that if we ever have to take these lights off, we can pull that through, run it down there, and then down into the bottom where our fuse box will be. Turn your oven up.
There we go. Plug your one up. Point it more towards me. There we go, that makes sense. Before we go any further with the cladding above the lights, we're going to have to do some additional insulation to heat up the fan. So there wasn't enough space to do this work in the van, so we've had to come into the house to set up our own station.
So we are going to cover the bumpers that were on the ambulance with a new fabric. So we've done this one to see what it's going to look like, and this is sort of the colour scheme we're going to go for. We're going to go with this nice yellow material.
When we were starting these bumpers, we didn't really know what angle to start with, but we soon got into the swing of things.
Start by stapling this bit here. Right. How do I?
Thankfully we managed to work out a method for some of the more intricate cuts, otherwise we would have been there all night.
So now that we have the 2 more tricky bits done, we're going to move on to the big bit that the spotlights go on. So this is the bit that's going to go underneath the sink and the bed.
For this bumper we pretty much just wrapped it round in a big square and then stapled it on. It was pretty easy.
So now that we have the big bumper done, we're going to put our lights in it now, or we're going to attempt it. So this is where all this hard work could go very wrong very quickly. So if you will have seen in our previous build video where we done the ceiling lights, we've actually went for the same type of design, but to add a wee bit of ambient lighting, like less harsh, we've actually went for a warmer white. Because if we have these on, we won't have the ceiling lights on. Right. Probably need to use some glue, so we'll just put these in properly. Well, let's just see if they'll glue. Ooh! 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 So it's now done, and I think it actually looks really good. The yellow material with the black accents. It looks really like sort of modern, doesn't it?
So that's it for this week's video, but remember we're still in a race against time.
So with the deadline looming, make sure that you subscribe to the videos to see if we actually make the trip. So for those asking to see the main star herself, she also wants to say a massive thank you to you guys, and also for the wee treats that she also got extra. So as we actually finished filming this video, we've just become YouTube partners, and it's all thanks to you guys. We couldn't have gotten this far without your support. So please keep watching, keep supporting, because the videos are going to get better, the adventures are going to get better, and the van build is going to continue.